let's go ahead and get started. And I just wanted to begin by welcoming everybody to season 4 of the Demand Gen Jam Session. Yes, I said season 4, January 2025. I don't know what's scarier to me or more exciting to me, that it's 2025 or that this is our season 4 of these Demand Gen Jam Sessions. But we're super excited to get the year off to a big start. We do have an agenda. We sent out an email a few minutes ago. If you weren't on that email list, Lauren's going to drop that in the comments a couple of
I
times so you
sure
can
will.
follow along. We do have a presentation that we're going to share with you guys in a little bit, but just super excited that you guys are here and ready to kick off an awesome season with you guys. Ryan and I, when we were getting ready for 2025 and thinking about all the things that we're doing at Vende, these jam sessions and our Demand Gen Jammers community were really something that we're super excited about. Our theme this year at Vende is to double down on the things that are working really well for our business. And these jam sessions and the community that we're building are really an area that we want to double down on. And so we've got some really cool things in store this year. I'm not going to steal too much of our thunder right now, but possibly a new name. Possibly. We'll find out more about that a little bit later on. But one of the things I'm super excited about is that we've already got half of the year planned in terms of really amazing guests that we're going to have on the show. Most of the guests are here as a result of the awesome feedback that we've received from you on the topics that really matter and that are important to you. And that's really what we're trying to do here at Vende Digital is just deliver content and useful information that's going to make your life better, help you advance in your career. And so that's what we're all about. So thank you for being a part of our Jam Session series and ready to get it kicked off. And so let me start by just introducing you to Ryan Miller, my co-host. You want to say hi, Ryan?
Yeah, and I'm stealing some of the thunder back, Paul. One
Okay.
of the things I really wanted to share was just how much of a struggle kind of I went through to find a community of B2B marketers. So I live in Denver. There's people all over the place advertising, oh, we're a B2B group, or we're a B2B meetup, or we just do this and do this. And I went to every single one of them. I drive an hour here, drive an hour there, here, there, everywhere. And none of them really had a bunch of B2B marketers. So when I really started working with Vendi and Paul and realized like this is truly a super special place to be because it's us, whether you're sales or marketing or whatever, but we're B2B. It's a different animal. So it's just such a cool experience to be with all of you in this particular platform, and virtual is even better because I don't have to drive an hour here or there. Just to be with you and to continue to build this. So we're just so grateful for you being part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do have a new face as a moderator for our new season. For those of you that have been with us a while, you remember Andrea. She's been an awesome moderator for a long time. But we thought we'd give her a break in season 4 and introduce you to Lauren Glover, who's been with Vindi for a long time. And we're really excited to have her as our moderator starting with this episode. You want to say hi, Lauren?
Hi, everyone. I'm Lauren. I'm from the DFW area, and Paul's right. I've been with Vindi for a bit since 2018, just working in the background and things like that. But I'm excited to be here in the foreground with all of you. And I've attended tons of these Demand Gen Jam sessions as a commenter, so my main name might be familiar.
Yeah, awesome. Well, glad to have you, Lauren. And by the way, we're going to try to keep this conversation going in the chat. And we may even pick on you a time or two to come on live and speak with us or get your question answered live. So be prepared for that. We do want this to be an interactive session. We do have a guest with us as well, and she'll be joining us here in a little bit. And excited about that. And Sherry Otto, she's been a guest with us before. This topic that we're covering is such a big topic. We're going to cover it in two sessions. So today's session is really all about overcoming B2B marketing challenges. And then we've got Jay Schwedelson coming in next month. Most of you guys, I hope you know about Jay. He's a big presenter at the Inbound Conference. He's very active on LinkedIn. I've got a link to his LinkedIn profile there in the agenda. But he's like one of the most tactical magicians when it comes to getting your emails open, getting getting your emails clicked. I cannot wait for him for next month because he's going to share a lot of great stuff. Be sure to register for that. One thing I'm excited about this year is we've got an event page on our website with the first half of the year's jam sessions already in there. So if you want to go ahead and register for next month's event, you can go ahead and do that now. And so, Ryan, I'm going to pitch it back over to you to get the chat discussion rolling.
Well, I just have to give you props, Paul, because for about a month now you've been practicing how to pronounce Jay's last name, and I think you nailed it.
Oh, good. It helps when you say it like 10 times fast.
Yeah, it's a good one. Um, yeah, so for those of you who are doing email, especially like either just getting started or even at volume, what were some of the wins that you saw last year? What like just tickled your fancy and you're like, wow, this is really amazing. I thought about this, I did this, and kind of what happened. But what were some of your wins from email last year? We'd love to know. We're going to share some of ours throughout this too, because we've been really focused on it.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I'm not going to type it in since I'm talking, but our jam session emails for whatever reason seem to be our best ones. We get the best open rates, we get the best click rates, and I know we're going to be talking about B2B email marketing challenges. So it'd be nice to just start with some positive wins.
Yeah, I know, Vindi, some wins for us is we started doing some more automation type side of things towards the tail end of 2024 and really bringing that in for 2025. We do see a lot of our best emails being these event emails. So we're still trying to crack the code on what works for us for basically any other category, but these event emails work really well for us. So that's been something we've been doing.
You know what I loved? I got to pile on to that too. I don't know. So for all of our listeners, have you ever had the newsletter debate? Right? It's kind of an arm wrestle, right? We may have done them 10 years ago, 5 years ago. Some people, they're produced, they're beautiful things, but they take a lot of work. Well, we decided to just go for it with the intention of providing acute and specific pieces of content to you, right? A lot of you are in our email database, so you see some of these things, but the newsletter had a little bit of design, nothing crazy, and very, again, acute, specific pieces of content. That actually ended up being a really big performer for us just from overall engagement. So I was really pleased to see that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
awesome.
and I'm not seeing anybody jumping on chat, so maybe this is a really good topic because there aren't very many wins out there. I'm just really glad, to be honest with you, that nobody put like cold email because cold email is like how did we rename spam to cold email and then all of a sudden spam was bad, but cold email we just basically spam is good. I don't understand, but
So,
It's because
Ash,
we still wanted to send spam, Paul, but we just didn't want to have to call it spam because we're marketers, Paul. So remember, we're just going to reframe the word spam and call it cold email, and we'll just
yeah,
feel better about it.
100%. So, call out to Ashley. I would say that's crushing it, right?
oh
So she
yeah,
increased sends by 4x, reduced bounces by 4x, and
that's
started doing
amazing, Ashley. Way to go.
that's amazing. Way to go.
Awesome. Awesome. Cool. Well, you want to do the other one, Ryan, or are we just ready to jump on
We're
in?
good. That's
Let's
great.
go.
Let's
Let's
do it.
go. So I've already kind of talked about the fact we've got two jam sessions dedicated to email marketing if you're following along in the agenda. So next month, be sure to register for that. And then what we thought we would do before we went into the challenges, or rather the challenges of email marketing, like what are the big things? And we actually did a poll last month. We'll get into that in a second. But we thought we'd cover just a little bit of the pitfalls. The one thing that's cool about being a digital agency is we get to look at a lot of companies' B2B marketing, our clients, our prospects, people that we meet in social media. So we get to see a lot of things. And Ryan, I just wanted to throw it over to you. What are some of the biggest, pitfalls that you're seeing when it comes to email marketing?
Yeah, it starts with redheaded stepchild syndrome. People just don't think about it as much and as deeply as they should. And yeah, I got some things going. It's probably fine. Actually, I know it kind of sucks, but I'm not going to deal with it because it's kind of hard. I don't know how to. I don't know where to. And I know I'm here at this webinar today. I'm listening to all these great things, but I still don't know exactly where to start. And what does good even look like? What is attainable, right? We all talk about segmentation and hyper personalization. Like, frankly, that can be overwhelming. So, Paul, for me, I think a lot of people just get stuck in the overwhelming part of looking at this endeavor.
Yeah, one of the things I think about, which kind of ties right into that, is the whole treating everybody the same, which goes right back to Ashley's point. And so, hey, I need to do email marketing. I know that's important. So I'm going to check the box and I'm going to do this spray and pray approach, which is, the one size fits all email that goes to every single body in our list. Or maybe I've got this sequence that when somebody opts into an ebook or something like that, everybody's going to get the same sequence. And so, definitely the opposite of what Ashley's doing, we see as the common practice. So kudos to you, Ashley, for doing segmenting, because I'm sure the segmenting turns right into more personalization, and we'll get into that a little bit later. How about you, Lauren? Anything that you're seeing out there?
Yeah, this is some trends for 2024. We're looking at definitely segmenting, like Ashley says, over at Vindi. I don't know if this is stealing thunder for later on, but we've introduced a new stage of group of people called learners. And so we're going to be sending our learners specified information that might be more helpful for them versus people that are just brand new to our email sending domain, for lack of a better term. So things that are actually informative and helpful. So I think that is going to be something that's just a new way of looking at your overall email audience.
So we're going to double down on that too, and we'd love to have you guys along for the journey because it's not a job title or a profile fit, right? A lot of times we'll send an email to a specific persona type, like, oh, you're an accountant. I'm going to send you things I want you to know about accounting. This is much more broad. It's behaviorally driven.
Hmm.
So some of you are already in our learner category because you're consuming, you're processing, you're learning, and we want to help you continue to learn until the point you may need some help. So that one's a big one.
Yeah,
Another one oh, go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, I was just going to say when Sherry joins us in a little bit, I'm going to get her to talk to you guys about partnering in the pursuit of your audience. And that's to me such a huge unlock, because another challenge that I see that folks deal with is just they're trying to sell all the time. It's like every email they send is, pitch slapping their audience. And, we actually had Sherry on our show last year, and we wanted her to talk about aligning your email marketing strategy to the buyer's journey, which is really important. But she brought in this concept called partnering in the pursuit of your buyer. So if we can get in the mindset of just thinking about, the buyer is on our website, or the learner or buyer, based on what Lauren just said about segmenting our audience and treating them differently, what are they trying to accomplish, and how can email become a part of their journey? How can we move them along? I mean, the great thing about being in B2B is we as the seller tend to know more about overcoming these problems than our customers do. And so how can we partner with them and leverage information and knowledge that we have to help them make good decisions?
Another
Uh,
Absolutely.
just a
yeah, go
little
ahead,
challenge
Ryan.
nugget I was going to throw in there too is going from ad hoc to automated. So a lot of you get stuck in like,
Oh
and we
yeah,
like Lauren, Paul, we've had like, man, just gotta send this out the door. Like, just get it out the door. We gotta go.
right.
Ad
Yeah.
hoc versus automated is another one where a lot of people just struggle, and that comes back to your email strategy.
Yeah, and we'll get into this a little bit later on, but at the end of the day, when you're doing email marketing the right way, it's not that you're doing a blast or a sequence. It's like everybody in your system is getting emails on a fairly regular basis based on their behavior and the information that you know about them, so that it's really personalized and helpful to them. So your system might be sending out emails every single day, but certain emails to certain people based on what they're doing on your website or how they're engaging with you in social media, et cetera. And we'll certainly get more into that a little bit later on. And hey, you guys in the audience, if you've got some specific pitfalls that we haven't covered that you've experienced or that you're trying to overcome, we would love to see that in the chat as well. So I think we should move on to the presentation, unless you guys, because it's a pretty long slide deck. Ryan always gives me crap about that. He says I build way too many slides, so I'm
Oh,
sure that I did.
and if you guys agree with me in the audience, let's come on, back me up on this one.
So let's
Ryan, I'm
go
in your
ahead.
corner on that one. Don't worry.
Yeah, yeah. Everybody thinks and I do. I talk too much and I
But
share
here's
too
the
much and
thing:
I
the
fire hose too
reason,
much, and I know I do all
oh,
those things.
here's what everybody knows in this audience. It comes from a place of love nurturing truly and being able to share what you know. So we're gonna just have all I think there's 125 slides today, guys. It's
Yeah,
gonna be
it's only
great.
one. No, I cut it down to 124. Come on, man.
Oh, fair. Oh, you got rid of the okay, that's good. Good call.
All right, can you guys see my screen?
Coming in. There it is.
Okay, so there is also a link to a PDF version of this in the agenda, so you guys can have that for afterwards. And what we always share with you all when we share slides is we're giving these to you as with permission for you to use them however that you want. So if you want to screenshot any of this, put it in your own presentation to your own leadership, feel free to do so. You don't need to reach out to us for permission. These are yours to use however you want. So let's go ahead. The goal of today is just to talk about the most common B2B email marketing challenges. And the first thing that we want to share with you is that, email's not dead. It's crazy what all these pundits on LinkedIn, I guess I spend the most time from a social media perspective on LinkedIn. Everybody loves to say that everything is dead, right? Email is dead, SEO is dead, whatever is dead. And the reality is that what I've always seen is spammy tactics in any channel die really fast, but every channel has its own merit. And we believe that email marketing is certainly not dead, it's just broken. And what we really need to do is just think about how important this can be to our business. The reality is that your customer's inbox is one of the most intimate places that we can interact with them. I mean, it's something that they check multiple times a day. It is also an owned audience, right? So the people that we email to are people that have given us permission to talk to them, to market to them. Something could change on LinkedIn tomorrow or what other, SEO tomorrow, whatever channel that you're really, leaning in on that would cause that audience to go away. But your permission based email audience is something that you own and it's yours. And so definitely we don't want to think of it as something that's dying. But at the same time, we've got our subscribers and their expectations and what they get after they say, yes, you can email to me have changed a lot over the last 24 months or 36 months, right? It's like I said a few minutes ago, it's not about pitch slapping somebody all the time, but really partnering in their pursuit. And at the same time, man, I love AI. We'll get into AI a little bit later on, but AI has created so much spam, so much generalized, watered down, terrible spam. I feel like since ChatGPT came out, the amount of email that shows up in my inbox is like 2 or 3x because it's so easy to crank out crappy email. And I think so many marketers out there always love to pursue the path of least resistance. And so AI generated email sounds easy, so let's just do a lot of it. But at the end of the day, we've got these wonderful tools like HubSpot and marketing automation and the ability to monitor behavior more than we ever have before. There's no reason why we should do spray and pray. We should really create these hyper personalized experiences. Now, you guys told us really kind of what were the big challenges. We did this poll last month. We just simply asked you, hey, where are you guys struggling the most? And, wasn't surprising to me to see that getting more opens and clicks, I think we all are struggling with that. We saw that in our own email marketing at Vende last year, that getting people to open and click our emails is like crazy, crazy hard to do. And so that's definitely a challenge we're going to address today, followed by using automation the right way. One of the great things about automation is you can do just about anything you want with automation. One of the terrible things about automation is that you can do just about anything you want with it, right? So would love to just hear, when you look at this list, what are your biggest email marketing challenges? Brian, what's our biggest email marketing challenge, do you think?
It's the same. It opens.
Yeah.
And the thing I was going to say about that is we get disappointed about it, and you probably do too, because we actually work hard on them. We actually write content we believe is helpful and put together stats, facts, slides, or just a simple note of encouragement. And it's like, meh, nah. That's really frustrating.
Yeah. And what do you think to the cause of that, Ryan?
I mean, I think we have a lot of email fatigue. I think we have, we're all competing ultimately for one thing, which is time. We're competing for time and attention, right? So we all wake up like, what's the average number of spam or emails that show up a day? Is it like 100 or something
It's a
per
ridiculous
account?
number. Yeah.
So it's tough, right? And everybody's trying the things. Like it's interesting. Paul, there was a pretty big typo on the top of the slide that we all missed, and I
What's
wanted to go back now. I
I don't
got
want to look at it. I don't want to see a
they,
typo. Come on.
they all did, but I want to dovetail that into something positive. In that for a while there was a whole bunch of studies showing that if you put a typo in your subject line, that those got opened more. But that's just a shiny object thing, right? That's a trend, right? Because we're trying to break through those 100 emails that you're trying to delete fast enough or unsubscribe fast enough or then figure out what's of value. So that's the problem is we're competing for time and attention.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, I see that Sherry has joined us. Welcome to the jam session, Sherry. Glad to have you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. I can't wait to dig in, and it sounds like there's some good conversations going on about email, so let's keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. What are you seeing as the biggest challenge? What's your hardest thing to overcome, Sherry, when it comes to email marketing?
Yeah, I think it's going to be around how I continue to make my emails feel really personal, really authentic, even though I am sending it to a segment of my list or, a majority of my list. How can they feel like I'm just talking to them? So that's something that I'm always asking myself and starting to kind of dig into that a little bit more. And hopefully we can get into some details later on too. But that's the thing. It's personalization and feeling human, that human to human connection in this world of AI and all this content out there. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. And for those of you that weren't in our jam session last year, where Sherry was a guest, one of the reasons we invited Sherry to join us last year and asked her to come back this year, we actually met Sherry when she was at HubSpot. She was running email for HubSpot. And I was just so impressed with her out of the box thinking. And it felt so different, very much in line with what you're talking about here, Sherry. So really excited to have you join us today and share your insights. It's going to be awesome. So
Thanks.
let's go ahead and move into some of these challenges. And let's start with, Ryan, the one you said was the biggest challenge, standing out in a crowded inbox. And so, Jay's going to be here next month. Jay is amazing at all the cool things. He's got great data behind what works, emojis and curiosity and being negative, and Ryan maybe misspelling words, right? So we'll get way into a deep dive on that. But let's just jam a little bit on what are some good ideas to just get somebody to actually see our doggone email in their inbox. Ryan, you got anything?
I'm still waiting for someone from the audience to throw in some stuff here. Let me back clean up.
What'd you say?
I said
Yeah.
I'll back clean up. Go ahead.
All right. Sounds good. Well, so some of the things that we have seen that really can make a difference is curiosity driven subject lines. Sherry and I were just talking about this a couple of weeks ago about just even promoting this event. She was like, let's get some emails out there to get that spark some curiosity. Let's create an itch that needs to get scratched and make the jam session be the scratching of the itch, right? So that's definitely something that works well. Another one, I'm going to jump over to the third bullet over there, and that is, optimizing the sender's from name. I can't tell you how important that is. You'll hear people, and Jay's one of them, that will talk about, spend 50% of your time thinking about that subject line because, and 50% of your time writing the email, but a huge amount of your time needs to be focused on the subject line. And I don't disagree with him at all. But the thing that I feel like is even more important is if that from name is somebody that then you're going to open that email more than likely versus somebody that you don't know or just a branded name. But right there in the middle is partner in their pursuit. And Sherry, I kind of teed this up before you're able to join us. I did give you credit for that phrase. How can partnering in the pursuit of our buyer get people to actually open our emails more?
Yeah, absolutely. So somehow, some way, your buyer, your contact made it into your ecosystem. That's a huge thing. And we want to celebrate and honor that. They found you through some piece of content, or they were sparked by what you were doing and they were interested and attracted to you. So what you want to do is honor that by understanding what their goals are and partner with them in their pursuit of their goal. And when they begin to see you as a partner in their journey on evaluating how to overcome a challenge, how to solve a problem, maybe it's a status thing, or maybe they want to please their boss or their clients, whatever the goals or the big challenges, as marketers, it's our job, especially today, to understand what that is and then come alongside them and partner with them in their pursuit for that goal. And when you can get them to see that you're able to partner with them, then they trust you, and that allows you to share a CTA to bring them further along in your sales process. So I love this sort of catchy a phrase, but it really does work because we need people to see us as partners versus someone who's just going to sell them on something that we have because we think our product is awesome. And like you say, Paul, we're not going to pitch slap someone. We're going to help them and partner with them in their pursuit. What does that sound like?
Yeah, go ahead,
Yeah.
Ryan.
Well, I was going to say, so for those of you who have heard me kind of chime in on some of these things, always think about a conversation at a networking event, right? It's the end of the day. You're going to go sit at the bar and just unwind for a second, and you're going to turn to the person next to you and have a conversation. It's what could you imagine if we like read some of our crappy emails to a stranger that's sitting next to us? Is, hey, Bob, looks like you're having a good day. Are you at the conference? Great. Versus like, oh, hey, Bob, I saw you at that trade or at the booth at at the end there, and it looks like you were really engaged in that. Like, what did you learn over there?
Hmm.
It's so different. So just if you're ever challenged with an email and how it's coming off or sounding, just read it out loud. See how
Yeah,
it sounds.
that's an awesome one that's really not even on here too that made me think of Ryan, and that is be human. I mean, what's wrong with us B2B companies? We feel like we've got to be stuffy blue suit, white shirt. We can't just be human and treat our emails like we're just having a conversation with someone. And Sherry, to your point, there's a handful of email people that send emails to me that as soon as it hits my inbox, I'm opening it. And I'm not talking about people at Vende that, it's work related or client related, but people that are marketing to me. There's a handful of them. Every single time they show up in my inbox, I open them. And you know why? It's because of what you said. They're partnering in my pursuit. They
Yeah.
understand that there's information that I need, and I trust and believe that they've got information that's going to help me. And so I'm quick to open it.
Love that.
I'm quick to hit the delete button when I feel like it's just a cold pitch slap type email. So
Yeah.
great points on that.
And Paul, let me make this super practical for your audience really
Great.
quickly. So, when we're adopting this methodology of partnering their pursuit, even if you don't necessarily know exactly what that looks like for your business, here's a quick CTA that you can use at the end of your emails. You can simply say, okay, you send a message, you give some value, hopefully, and at the end, when you're ready for them to take the step in in your sales process, you can simply say, and when you're ready, here are 3 ways I can help. And then just whatever your offers are, if it's your events, if it's your products, then you just list it. Because you're showing them, hey, I'm here when you need me. I'm a partner. I can help you. So you could just use that phrasing at the bottom of your email, and it changes the tone and the sentiment of, oh, they can help me and they're not being pushy. So I'm going to use that. So feel free to swipe that and use that in your emails.
I love that one.
That is so
Yeah.
good. That is so good. So, hey, let's ask the audience a question. What makes you actually open a B2B email? So, yeah, again, not from your employees, not from your customers, but when somebody sends you an email that they're trying to market to you, what is it that makes you want to open it? Is it the from? Is it the subject line? Is it the value? You tell us, audience.
Well, while we wait for some comments to come in, I'll tell you for me personally, I open an email when it feels like they kind of read my mind when I'm reading the subject line.
Yeah, totally.
Like, oh, I was actually just thinking about that. Let me
Mhm.
click it open and read about it. It's something that, and it can be tough to do, but that's where segmentation really comes in and making sure your emails are tailored to the activities that your audience is doing.
So that mind read thing that you just said, Lauren, that's when the kind of the collision of good segmentation, understanding your audience, and good content come together, and all of us here, will achieve that with our intended targets. And it's beautiful when it happens, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking at the comments here too. It looks like subject lines and relevance. Those are the things that are really getting people to want to open. I like what Angelica said too. If they're funny, humor is a lost art when it comes to B2B. I wish I was a lot funnier than I am because I do appreciate people that can mix humor in. I think Ryan Reynolds, like all the stuff he's doing in the world of marketing and how he's just so good at getting humor in his marketing is just amazing. So, all great stuff.
And if you guys ever get emails from me too, you'll know from time to time I will try to play with humor and I will poke around on it, and I share, sometimes funny pictures or even pictures of family and things like that. And it's interesting that, sadly, I don't get responses, but I am definitely trying to put a smile on your face from time to time.
Yeah. Yeah, and poke fun
Awesome.
at yourself too. Like you can poke fun at yourself. It's very disarming. Like, oops, I didn't mean to do it this way. I'm having one of those days. Like really just kind of be lighthearted. It just really takes down the barriers for people and it shows that you can connect with them.
Yeah, kind of like when you have a typo in your slides that you're presenting.
Hey, don't feel too bad, Paul. I saw on LinkedIn this morning that I think it's Coors Light did billboards with a typo in it.
That's
Like
awesome. That's
they
awesome.
misspelled the word refreshment, I think it is.
Oh,
So
that's terrible. I don't think I could spell refreshment without help. Um, So hey, let's move on to the next challenge, which was personalization. And I think that going back to Ryan, something you said earlier, that when it comes to hurdles, we all are just trying to check the box. Sometimes we're not thinking about it strategically. And so what I'm seeing in the world of B2B marketing is that a lot of marketers feel like personalization means putting the first name of the buyer in the email, or maybe putting the first name of the buyer in the subject line. Hey, that's like an A plus, right? But the reality is that's not personalization anymore. Yes, it's an element of personalization, but here's a better definition. When you think about creating personalized emails, what we're wanting to do is make sure that what we're delivering to that person feels like it's exactly what they needed at just the right time, right? So that's really the challenge that we have as B2B marketers. And the reality is, all the data is available to us. If we just build the systems the right way, where we can monitor signals and monitor their behavior and set up our marketing automation systems in a way so that can trigger things, we can create an experience that feels very personalized and deliver things that are exactly what our buyers want. In fact, when you go out, and this is a study from LinkedIn went out and asked buyers, hey, what are you wanting from vendors today? These were the top four things. They want highly relevant information, right? They want to know that the stuff that you're sending to them is going to help them, partnering in their pursuit. Sherry, just using your term again, but is going to help them along their way in whatever they're trying to overcome. They want it to feel highly personalized. They don't want to have to dig and find the stuff that's for them. They want it to be kind of teed up for them. They want everything on demand. And so, that's going to get into another challenge that we'll talk about in a little bit, which is we got to grow our list. But if they want everything in demand, how in the world are we going to grow our list if we're going to give everything away and not gate anything? And then they want easy access to sales. Sherry, I loved what you just said in the last segment because, just saying, hey, here's three ways I can help you is a way of giving them easy access to sales when they're ready, right? What we don't want to do is slap them around with a sales rep until they're ready to talk to sales. We've all heard the stat, I think it's from Gartner, that, a buyer does not want to talk to a seller until about 80% of the
Yeah.
journey is complete. So they want to do as much of this stuff on their own, but at the same time, we need to make it easy for them so that when they are ready to become hand raisers, we can optimize for that. So, question for you guys, how are you currently personalizing your emails beyond just using the first name? So we know we've heard about segmenting. That's a good way to personalize emails. What are some other things that you're doing that have worked well? Lauren, why don't you tell them a little bit about what we're doing to personalize our emails?
yeah, I mean, this is one that Vende is. I'm actually really curious to see what some of the comments are because this is something we've started to discuss for 2025. We want to get more personalized. I mean, like we obviously are trying to personalize based off the journey point that someone is in when they're learning about us. But beyond that, we are just trying to brainstorm some ideas. I mean, there's the first step, first name is the obvious first step. The second obvious first step is if someone downloads an asset, make sure the name of the asset is in the email that you send back saying, thank you for downloading this asset. things like that are some other obvious first steps. But yeah, just super curious to see what people have to say with
Yeah, I
personalization.
love, I can't see the name, but personalized landing pages. That's really good. In fact, that's one of the things that was our next slide. So a great segue. You know, we're thinking about it a little bit differently, and that is having these personalized content hubs. They're so valuable because we can build content hubs around personas, around pain points, around use cases, where they are in the buyer journey, what industry they're in. And by the way, you know, we're not going to bash on AI too much because I think AI is a wonderful tool. It's a terrible tool for starting with a blank sheet of paper, creating something at 100% and then sending it out to your customer. But it is a wonderful tool for doing things like creating content hubs, because if you've got really good foundational content, you can use AI to help you take that foundational pillar content around your POV and turn it into an industry specific or buyer stage specific piece of information that can then get translated into an email. So definitely having really good content on your website, being able to monitor how people are using and engaging with that content, and then letting that content that those content hubs that they're engaging with inform your system so that you're sending them more information related to that topic becomes very much a choose your own experience type scenario, because hey, they were on this content hub about AI enablement. Let's send them some AI related resources. That's how we make it feel like it's exactly what they're looking for and just for them at the right time. Anything else from Sherry or Ryan?
Yeah, no, I love the topical relevance to personalization. So, like, if they're really going down a path that's a subsegment of what you offer, continuing to give them those types of content pieces, those topics to enrich that. I would challenge us to not just stop there, but like level it up. Like, what's the next ladder? So, if they're reading sort of like a more generic overview of AI, okay, give them something deeper in that next touch point to see how far you can take them down that path to an eventual offer. But I love that, you know, you're tracking topics and giving them the stuff that they're actually interested in. And I would say sprinkle in some other things that are complementary topics as well to see what else what other bait that they can kind of gravitate to.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that idea. Go ahead, Ryan.
Well, I just want to bring in, so Ashley has a good question. I think we can handle it here. Is there a specific tool or tech you all prefer for custom content hubs? Throw that out to the panel here.
Yeah, love to get the audience's thoughts on that too. We're a HubSpot partner, so we're going to say that HubSpot is the best way to go, and we're not saying that because we're just a partner. We just love the way the tool works, and it gives us the ability, when you've got all of your data, your CRM, your content, all of that stuff living in the same place. It makes it really easy to create these content hubs and then use that information to fire off relevant emails. But another thing I love about HubSpot is you can actually have, once you start learning about your buyer and they're coming to your website, you can actually have those content hubs dynamically change based on who they are, what persona they are, what industry they're in. And so there's just incredible capabilities there.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, you'll learn this. I'm the HubSpot like passion is one of my passions here at Vende. And yeah, HubSpot enables you to do personalized landing pages, as Dominic said. It enables you to group your content into the hubs, even visually, and things like that, so that you can just kind of see as a group what your audience is looking at. So there's a lot of things that a tool like HubSpot or HubSpot itself enables if you have it.
Yeah, I'm just looking at some of these recommendations that we had built slides around, and we've kind of touched on all of these at this point. You know, the dynamic component is really something that can allow you to create one email template, if you will, blast it to a segment or a list, but still have that email feel very personalized to your audience. And I'm just surprised at how few people we actually see take advantage of that, right? You can have these nice little information snippets, let a platform like HubSpot modify that for you on the fly. So, you know, just think about how much time saving that is. So it's, you know, personalization or hyper personalization doesn't have to be hard. You just have to put together the groundwork to make it easy in the long run. That last box on the right, though, choose your own experience. This is something that I really want to see us do more at Vindi, and I'd love to see more companies do it with me. And that is, very much like a Hulu scenario, right? Hulu knows what shows I'm watching on television. And so it can send me an email and recommend other shows that I might like on television or Netflix. We can do the same thing with our content, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, well, good. Let's move on to building a reliable owned list. So, if we're going to ungate everything, because that's what our buyers want, how in the world are we going to grow our owned list? Because it was so much easier to do the ultimate guide on ABC, XYZ, and then throw a form in front of it. That's how we built our list, but our buyers don't want that anymore. So, what are we going to do? Here's 7 ideas that we have done for ourselves at time to time and recommend to our clients, and they work really well. The first one is flip the script. And this actually came from one of our sessions last year on ungating content. And it was a really interesting case study where the goal was, hey, we know that our buyers want ungated content. They don't want to give us their information to get to our content, but we still need to grow our list. What are we going to do? So what they did is they actually ungated the content, but at the very end of their premium content, think of it like a guide or an ebook or something, they had an opportunity to email that to your inbox so that you could read it as a PDF. So it was living on their website as a web page, multiple web pages potentially. But then at the end, it was like, hey, would you like this delivered to your inbox? We'll email it to you. They actually got more leads that way than actually forcing people to fill out the form to get it. So it's the idea of flipping the script. Creating content upgrades is another great one. So, like for example, maybe you've got some good content on your website about overcoming email marketing challenges, but you've also built a nice little tool or resource or Google spreadsheet or something like that that your audience can get access to, where they can actually do one of the jobs or one of the functions that you're talking about in your guide, and you get them to opt in to get that tool. So it's like a content upgrade. You're not gating the main piece of content, but you're providing some tools and resources and asking them to opt into those things so that you can send them out. There's a lot of other things here on the list. I'm not going to read it to you, but I am going to touch on a couple of other ones that I think are really beneficial and ones that we are using very heavily. Number 4, our niche community. I mean, you guys are our community. The community that we have on LinkedIn is our community. We promised that this is a no sale zone. We will always serve you first, but it is a way for us to build our opt-in list. You do have to register to come to this Zoom meeting, and so we do get your email address that way. If you join our community, we're there and building a list with you. Now, that's not our primary goal. Our primary goal is to serve you, but that's one of the ways that we are building our community. And so that's really what I mean by 4 and 5 there. Partnering it with influencers like Sherry and Jay. When we do events and we invite folks like Sherry to our events, Sherry's getting the opportunity to get exposed to our audience, and that's a way that she can grow her list, right? So there's lots of interesting ways that we can leverage the modern marketing motion and still serve our customers well without putting that cringy form on front of all of our content. Guys, Sherry, Ryan, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I just want to say, so earlier when I was kind of talking about how email is sort of the redheaded stepchild from time to time, growing audience is one of the big ones, and it's hard to do, right? But challenge yourself this year to have some growth metrics around that. Challenge your way to go find the right audience and actually grow it. We can tell you beyond a reasonable doubt, an increase in quality audience size with first-party own list data absolutely translates to revenue. No doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. How about you, Sherry? Anything you want to
Yeah.
add?
Absolutely. No, these are great. I'm taking notes over here. I love the list that you curated. I would say to continue to think about experiences that you can give. So maybe that first piece of content is ungated, but then if they want that second piece of content, how can we use curiosity or behavioral science to create tension for that next step? And if they want that next step, that's when they give their email address or their contact information. So maybe it's not on the front end, but maybe it's on the back end of pieces, which is some of the sentiment I've seen here as well. Yeah.
And
Yeah,
don't
that's great.
forget, if you have something like HubSpot, and we're going to start playing with this more and more as the progressive fields too, right? Low barrier of entry, just basics. And then as you want to learn more, we're going to collect a little bit more information so that we can better serve you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
One of
and
the
this is
things,
something we at least temporarily decided to not do. But one thing that HubSpot can do if you have Content Hub is actually create a gated community to a library of resources. So say like maybe you put 50% of your resources before the gate and then these other 50% are after the gate, but they get access to all of them with one email sign-in. That's something else that HubSpot has available with one of their hubs.
yeah, that is a great idea. I love that. Number seven is something that I've been bouncing around in my head, actually, why I put it on here today, but I haven't even talked to Lauren or Ryan about it. But it would be cool to have like a pipeline growth survey on our website where, how strong is your pipeline or where are your weak points in your pipeline? And maybe they take a survey and we ask them to score, 20 questions from 1 to 5 or something like that. And then they get a score, and it's like a health score. How healthy is your pipeline? And then we email the results to them. That's a way of using something interactive that really serves them and helps you grow your email list. When you think about it, when you gate ebooks and things like that, it is so self-serving. It's not partnering in their pursuit. It's like, hey, I've got this thing, I'm making you pay for it with your email. Where a quiz is totally different than that, right? It's you're doing something, you're partnering with them, they're answering questions, and then you're delivering the results via email.
That's like asking your friend or the person you met at the conference, hey, you buy me a beer first, then I'll buy you a beer.
Yeah.
Love it.
True.
I love it. All right. So, what is your most successful play for building an own list? We've given you a bunch of ideas. Have you guys tried any of these ideas? Have you come up with any on your own? What's something that's really working well for you?
I'll tell you what doesn't work well,
What's that?
buying it.
Oh, yeah. Gosh, no. And
There's ways that that works for sure. And we kind of do parts of it. We curate lists, right, from databases similar to you guys, but we also have our first party sources. But man, if you're really thinking about buying a list, call me. I'll help you not do that.
yeah. Yeah. And I'm guessing that all this cold email that is just blowing up my inbox these days, that's got to come from a bot list. I'm guessing that's like I'm getting emails from people I don't know. They're personalized. They're buying lists, which is it is so the opposite of partnering in their pursuit. I hate them, and the only thing I hate more than a cold email is the one that comes back like 3 days later saying, "Hey,
Yeah.
I'm just bouncing this to the top of your inbox."
In
Oh
case
my
you missed
God,
it.
please, no, please stop. Right?
Cool. We'll do this next time, but we'll get a list of all the things we hate seeing in that particular area of email marketing. I'm sure there's lists, but let's create our own.
Yeah. So hey, let's move on because we're going to be good stewards of everybody's time. We got 10 minutes left. We have been talking about HubSpot quite a bit the last few minutes, or just marketing automation in general. One of the things that we are seeing that a lot of companies are doing wrong when it comes to marketing automation. They buy a platform like HubSpot, which is not a cheap platform, but they use it like Constant Contact or MailChimp. It's like a very expensive email blasting tool when that is like the training wheels part of something like HubSpot. There is so much more you can do with a smart marketing automation platform, from lifecycle workflows. Lauren, you talked about it a little bit earlier, but maybe you could spend a couple of minutes on it here. Explain to them exactly why did we create the learner lifecycle stage and what we're doing with it.
Yeah, I mean, the initial pain point was that we saw that from contact to what we call a lead new, which is when someone says, "Hey, I want to reach out to sales." Our conversion rate was extremely low. Once someone reached out to sales, our conversion rates were awesome because, Paul and Ryan are awesome at what they do. But the conversion rate between new contact and I want to reach out to sales was low. And so we decided as a group that one thing we needed to do was have better insights into what's happening between those two stages. And we decided to get a learner life cycle stage, is what we're calling learner. It doesn't, not officially learner, but we're calling it that to account for that and understand what's happening and understand when people are hitting a certain threshold, which is what we're measuring that via a lead score, to reach out to them with Sorry, my brain.
Yeah,
Reach
no,
out
that's
to them
okay. I
with
put you on the
material
spot.
that is relevant to them at that point in their journey.
Yeah,
Well, and I'll
absolutely.
give you an example. I know we got to move quickly here, but so many of you literally who kind of registered for today had already kind of been learning and, on our journey. But many of you today actually graduated into our new learner cycle today. So we're seeing these notifications about some of you who are on this call, and now it's up to us to serve you really well with content that you want through that personalization. And if we fail, you know what to do. Opt
Yeah.
out.
So think about it this way. There's people that want to buy from us and they need to receive a different kind of communication than people that are just trying to learn about B2B marketing. And we needed to be able to see that better in our system so that we could serve you better in that system. And that's why we did it, and excited to see, like Ryan and I were literally talking right before the call about, as you guys were registering for today, people were graduating into that learner category. So it's pretty awesome. Sherry, you worked at HubSpot. You
Yeah.
know marketing automation probably better than any of us.
No.
What are some tips and tricks that really make marketing automation hum when it comes to email marketing?
No, you guys are saying it right now. So it's like, and I'll just underscore what y'all are doing because this is like the holy grail of personalization. It's like, how do we separate those who are ready to move forward with that intent from those who are just consuming content? What are those specific criteria that lets us know it's time for advanced messaging and more getting closer to a sales rep? And what's the signal that says, hey, keep them in sort of a nurture phase? So the lead scoring, the intent signals, I call them micro conversions or sensors, like put those in place. Think with your team, get together and think about what their journey looks like and where you're going to drop these micro conversions or these sensors to do with what Paul and team are doing, which is separating folks from they need a different track of messaging versus those who are just kind of taking in information and doing learning. So setting those up on the front end, I think is going to be really important. And ask questions on how your CRM can do that for sure.
Right. And not every email that marketing automation can help you deliver is going to come from an email blast or an automation. One of my favorite ways that I use HubSpot at Vende is, if somebody's lead score is a certain level and they visit our pricing page on our website, because we have transparent pricing on our website, and the contact owner is me or Ryan, then we get an alert the minute that person that has a certain high lead score is on the pricing page. We get an email that says, hey, Sally Sue is on your pricing page right now. And so that's information that Ryan and I can use as the sales guys at Vende to reach out to that person and see how we can serve them. And so, yeah, we're going to send them an email, but it's not something that's like an automated email. It's something that, because we have that intelligence and sales has been alerted, we can actually reach out to them and see how we can serve them. So I'm going to move us along. But real quick, I think we've already talked a lot about segmenting. If there's any other segmenting tips from the audience, we'd love to hear from you. So go ahead and chat those in. But I'm going to move us along. We've got 5 minutes left. We're at the Creating Fresh Content Challenge. And, the thing that I wanted to share here, we won't spend a lot of time on it, is that one of the things we see B2B companies struggle with is they feel like what they're doing with email is disconnected from what their content strategy. And the key point that we're trying to make here is that you need to stop thinking about email as a sales channel and start thinking about email as an information dissemination channel. And so it should be an active part of your content strategy. And at a high level, we believe that a good content strategy should start with 3 to 5 content pillars that answer the question, what do you want to be known for? And then from there, you infuse your point of view and your messaging playbook around your personas. You build your long form content, and then you atomize that content in like a content flywheel. And then you use the various channels, including email, as a way of distributing that information in channels and platforms that your buyers care about. We don't want to wait for them to come to our website. We want to deliver that information where they're doing their daily lives all day, every day. Sherry, Ryan, Lauren, anything you want to add to that?
Heavy artillery, man.
Nailed it. Just nailed it. I can tell. I just nailed it.
Nailed it.
All right. So this is one that we want to talk about in like 2 minutes. But what are your thoughts on AI? I mean, do you love it? Do you hate it? Sherry, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, oh, I love it. And I love it because I use it in a way that's super tailored, very sophisticated. It's not like a generic prompt. So I think the more you know how to do some prompt engineering, the more you're like, whoa, this is really great. This is awesome. So I'm going to say, yes, I absolutely love it. I think marketers need to use it and need to use it well, not necessarily the way where most of us are using it. What's your thoughts?
Yeah. So it doesn't sound like you think it's going to take our jobs away.
I think if you're not using AI alongside your function, it can threaten what other folks who are using it. So I'm going to push us all to use it, but think about how you're using it, making sure that your brand voice, your tonality, your IP, all of these things have to be infused through it, and just use it as a tool to amplify what you're doing.
Guys, AI is nothing more than the force, right? It's just the force.
It's the
Use it,
mitochondrians.
use it for good, use it for evil. It's up to you, but may the force be with you.
Agreed.
Yeah, this is one area where I think HubSpot can use a little help, and that is, they've got some good tools embedded in HubSpot, but at the end of the day, I don't think we want to start from a blank sheet of paper, have AI create something from nothing, and then blast it out to our audience. Ryan, I thought you did a really good analogy as we are getting ready for today, where you're talking about it's 50-50 or 70-30. Can you explain what you were talking about
Yeah,
there?
there's three ways you should use AI. 50-50 if you don't know what you're doing. 50% machine, 50% you need to be involved. You need to be looking at everything. When you get a little bit more sophisticated, you get better at prompts and training your machines, you can go 70-30. 70 machine, 30 you. When you get really good at it and your prompts are good and you're training machines and you've got a good rhythm of things, you can go 90-10. That's when you're operational. That's when you're hauling booty because 90% machine, 10% you. Check, check, check. Good to go.
Yeah, I'll tell you, this will be the last tip and then we'll have to wrap. But, I've been writing our blog content for a couple of years and the team's been really pressuring me to stop doing that. And so I'm going to stop doing that. But I was a little nervous about it because there's so much in my head that I want to make sure makes it into the emails and the blogs and things like that on our website. So I went to ChatGPT and I actually created a GPT of everything that we've ever written and every transcript of every jam session we've ever done, so that now the team can literally go and do, like you were saying, Ryan, we've got this highly trained, specialized Vende brain inside of ChatGPT that we can use to create future blogs, future emails, and things like that. So it already knows our point of view. It already knows those things. And so there's a lot of very cool ways to use AI. Ryan, it looks like your concept of the force is just blowing up in chat. So good job on that one. And Sherry, thank you so much for joining us today. Hopefully, this was a very useful session. We wanted to lay the groundwork today on overcoming these challenges. Hopefully, you picked up some good or a handful of tips that you can try immediately. Be sure to come in next month because we're going to get down to the tactics, man. We are going to look at literally subject lines that are working, what percentage of, if you do this to this subject line or you add an emoji here, what emojis are actually working. Jay is going to bring it next month. And so you're going to want to join us. We're going to get deep in the weeds and you're going to come out of there with a lot of very practical things you'll be able to take back to work. So until next time, guys, have a great day and we'll see you next month. Take care, everybody. See ya.
Hey, everybody.
Bye. Thank you, everyone.